Hi friends, it is Celine and it's garden tour day. So this is Memorial Day weekend. It's been probably, I don't know, between 2 and 3 weeks since the last garden tour, and everything was pretty much just freshly planted or sown. And so I wanted to update you on the garden, and it's looking awesome. I will say it should be looking better, but we have had, like, the week after I planted, it was in the 70s the week I planted. It had just gotten over being cold. Then it went into the 90s, like overnight. It was 52 one day and 92 the next. And then we had, several days of that, and then it went cold again. So we had 50s and low 60s, lots of rain, a lot of storms, a lot of wind. And in between those patches, I was able to get some other things planted and sown. I did a lot of direct sowing this year. It just was so cold, so long. I normally, let me turn you around, that big tall bed right there is usually, I put hoops over the top of it and plastic, and I plant all my seedlings in that in the very early spring, and I usually have, really good luck. So I planted them later this year and I still had really good luck. I had, lots of things come up. So let's get started. So these are, I purchased walking onions. So if you guys have walking onions, these are white ones. Please let me know if these are walking onions or not. I have a feeling I got taken because they were kind of pricey. I got them off of Etsy, but these look like flower pods to me. And what walking onions are supposed to have, I could be wrong, but I don't know. What walking onions, or seed pods, what walking onions are supposed to do is get these little heads of clusters of tiny little onions and make them heavy, and then they fall over and they reroot themselves and they just keep multiplying. So again, these all look like flower heads to me, and walking onions do not flower. So I don't know, maybe this is just the way they look first year. I just don't know. So if you would comment below and let me know what you think, I would appreciate it. And then there's my garlic, which is not looking so hot. I planted garlic from the grocery store last late fall. So I really did not plant them as soon as I should have, but they came up right away, and I don't know. So anyway, this is my first year of garlic, so we shall see. Over here is kale. I've got 3 or 4 different kinds of kale here. And I need to kind of fill in these bare spots with a little bit more. I like my kale just loaded. I mean, planted close together, and I don't thin it out much, and we just cut and come again all summer long. I've got some onions here, and I have onions all the way back here. And up here I have some golden beets. And guys, I have had literally hundreds and hundreds of volunteer tomato plants all over in my garden this year. So next year I am going to, actually this fall, I'm going to prepare that big bed, that tall bed there, and I am going to plant rows of just sliced tomatoes so that they'll come up on their own in the spring. And that's what I'm going to do, because they all just came up so beautifully this year. I have a couple of bigger ones that I'm letting go, and we'll see. I don't even know what they are. They're either Juliet or cherry tomatoes. I'm hoping Juliet's because I don't have any of those. So anyway, golden beets, spinach, which is, some of it is grass and some of it's spinach, but until it matures a little bit, I don't know which is which, and I'm going to leave it alone. I've planted little plants of basil that I did from seed all over the garden. Swiss chard right there. And I have more onions towards the back and a lot more grass. I'm gonna have to crawl in there and get it, but it's really hard for me to reach, and so I don't. There is a bean plant from last year that came up volunteer. This whole fence row, from one end, just on this side of the gate, down to that end, is all pole beans. I did that last year and I had such an abundance. And I'll step around the other side and show you, but I planted beans. They are about 6 or 8 inches now. It's awesome. These are potatoes. First year of trying potatoes, and I have to tell you that, well, I planted some in a bucket last year, or a tote, and I wasn't impressed, but that was my own fault because I just really didn't care for them the way I should. And I'm doing the same thing this year, I'll be honest. I planted them in raised rows. I went back and put more dirt on all those rows, and then I came back and put straw, and they just keep shooting higher and higher, and I am just too dang lazy to keep coming in and piling more dirt and piling more dirt. That's more work than I care to do for the small amount I'm going to get. So we're just going to see what happens with these. They are starting to flower, so we'll just see where that goes. Here is one of those volunteer tomato plants right here. And I'm hoping that's a Juliet. I have some impatience. I love my impatience. And I don't have anything in that bucket. I don't have anything in that bucket. My grandson got me a hibiscus for Mother's Day, and it has to go inside in the winter because they'll die under 50 degrees. So that's potted and ready to go in, and it's starting to bloom as well. Got little buds. I planted strawberries. They're looking good and they're starting to bloom. The dreaded mint. I'm trying to decide if I'm just going to destroy it all or live with it. Haven't decided yet. I have cilantro coming up here. This bed was all herbs right here, just from there to there. And then there, just past that bed, then that's my kale. So this was all filled with herbs, and I had to move them because I made the mistake of planting passion flower last year. I just planted a couple passion flower seeds right over here in the corner, and that sucker grew up to the top, up to the soffit, all over the side of my house. And I didn't know if it was going to come back this year or not because it gets really cold in the winter, and it says sometimes it doesn't do cold well unless it's kind of sheltered. And it is sheltered back here on the back of the house. But here it cropped up right in the center of the flower bed, or right in the center of my herb bed. So I knew it was going to just destroy all my herbs. So I moved everything. And so this is just a bed for passion flower. And I keep pulling up little starts everywhere because I just don't want it to get so heavy. I'll leave those alone, but all the little stray ones that are popping out here and there are going to be gone. So that's the story of the passion flower. All right, so this was the bed that I was telling you that I do all my starting in, and I usually put hoops of PVC over it and covered in plastic. So this came up from last year. This is tarragon, and tarragon's a beautiful kitchen herb. I've got a little bit of chives there. I threw in, after I pulled out some of my other, replanted some of my other, or potted, whatever, some zinnias, some zinnias and some marigolds. This is an onion that came up from last year, And look, it's doing the same thing as the other ones are. So I'm a little concerned that they're all just onions. I planted onions over here all the way around there. And I also did a lot of planting of, that's some kind of pepper, but I don't know what because I moved my marker. But I've planted, like this is a Chinese red pepper. I was hoping for some giant Marconis, but I didn't get any. None of them germinated. And I have a bunch of little nada-pinos. Look, more tomato. There's tomatoes everywhere. And, but I have repotted or transplanted all the peppers and the tomatoes and the cucumbers that I had there. And then over here, I planted a row of celery that I will keep here this year, or every year, I suppose. And here's some of that basil that was left, and this is where I started it all. I have a half a dozen teensy, I don't know if you can see them or not, California Wonders. And my thyme did not germinate either. So we're just giving that some time, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do with this bed later. I might put a couple of zucchinis or something here. And here are a lot of the things that I've potted from that bed. I've got some extra cucumbers, and I've got a bunch of sweet banana peppers, some nada-pinos, which taste like jalapenos only without the heat. Several of those. I've got some sweet banana peppers and some habanada peppers, which are like habanada, the hot ones, only these are sweet and fruity tasting. And I have a lot of Gardener's Delight, which is my absolute favorite cherry tomato. I think that will be the only cherry tomato I ever plant from here on because it's my absolute favorite. So why bother with the rest of them, right? And they're so proficient. Now these little guys back here are not doing much. I don't really know why. I need to pull them out in the sun today. But those are the yellow Dr. Witchy heirlooms. And I just haven't had any luck with them this year. So basically, these are all kind of extras. Except for my habanadas, my peppers here. These are not all extras. I'm going to have a lot of extras, but these are not all extras. I just want them to get a little bit bigger before I transplant them. These are radishes. This is Easter egg radishes, and these are daikon radishes over here. And I planted a bunch, but I have one lone sunflower that came up, and I'm sure it's because of all these danged weeds. I don't know what they're called, but they are freaking everywhere. They're these viney things that just go everywhere. Okay, so that's it in my little backyard garden. I guess you could kind of call it a kitchen garden. This was what I started with when I started gardening 4 years ago. My husband built me these beds. We got them all filled up with dirt, and yeah, I've taken it from there, so I'm very pleased. Now, we had chickens back here in the corner, but we do a lot of traveling in the summertime. We're at the camper out at the lake lot, and we just felt like they weren't getting the attention they deserved. I don't mean playing with them, I mean making sure they had water and making sure their food was filled and all that sort of thing. And so we gave them to a friend who now supplies us in all of our eggs for free. So that works. And one day I will get chickens, and I plan on putting them over on the other side of the house over there. Nice and shady over there. Nothing grows over there. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go through the gate and show you the rest. Okay, and here is alongside of my kitchen garden. Forgive the weeds here, but I had an asparagus patch. This whole thing was a really full asparagus patch until my grandson weed-eated it last year, and now I just have a little bit of asparagus. This is the 3rd year, and it's still not ready to eat. It's still too small, and there's not much left of it now. These are cold hardy Chicago fig trees, and they can either stay in pots or they can be planted in the ground. So until they get a little bit bigger, they're staying in pots, but they're looking great. This is a new bed this year, and I told you in another video that I ran across someone who was building these beds, and if you bought 10 of them, you got them for $4 a piece. So I'm ecstatic about that. It's not treated wood, so I did have to coat it with raised bed garden protectant, but that was fine. Anyway, I have a Gardener's Delight here. I have a Dr. Witchy yellow here. I've got some basil on the sides here, and then I've got some marigolds around it. Now up here, I'm going to take you really close so you can see. I don't know if you can see these. Yeah, you can. These little grassy like things. These are there is some grass in there, but most of those are leeks, and I'm waiting for them to get a little bit bigger so I can spread them out. This was an entire bed of leeks, but that just didn't come up the way it should have. So I'll be transplanting and moving around some of those so that they've got room to grow. And my green stalks. First, before we do that, more lemon balm. And this is marshmallow, which is a member of the hollyhock family. That is amazing for different medicinal purposes. I use this in my marshmallow and mullein tincture for sinus and allergies. I add a little goldenrod for allergies. This is my green stalk. I had spinach at the bottom, which is bolted and it's about done, and then lettuces on top. And it's done really, really well. Here is my cattle panel arch. I would like to have another one by next year. These are Canadian crookneck squash, and those seeds came from Baker Creek, but they came from Living Traditions Farm. So I've got one on this end that the I don't know whether it's birds or squirrels or rabbits or what, but they've been biting off the tops and really messing with stuff. So I may have to get some chicken wire out and wrap around. But anyway, there's one good one there. I planted some Kajari melons. We'll see how those do. Last garden tour, I told you I planted lovage all along here. I was told, or maybe I misunderstood, and I thought lovage only got 1 to 2 foot tall. Well, apparently it gets 6 foot tall, and it's the 12 inches or so that you're supposed to plant it apart. None of that, as far as I can see, has come up or germinated. That's not a good thing, but maybe it is a good thing. So we'll see on that. And if it does come up, I will transplant it, or I'll just keep it cut short so that it can't get tall, because I want the leaves anyway. That's what I want, is the leaves to use as celery flakes. This is a Repicante zucchini, and it came up really well. I had to replant twice again because the tops got eaten off from somebody. And as you can see, they got another one leaf this morning. That's why I've got that in a little plastic. I had that one in plastic till it outgrew it. I have a couple of more Canada crookneck, and I have a couple more Repicante. It's called Zucchina Repicante, which is a beautiful, beautiful, long, huge zucchini that has no seeds in the whole neck. The neck can get several feet long, actually, a couple feet long, and all the seeds are in the base. So I'm excited to try those, and they're supposed to be very drought resistant, bug resistant. You know, the vine borers don't seem to bother them too much, nor do the squash bugs. So I'm hoping for that. And then over here, another green stalk. It's got Swiss chard on the bottom, kale. Looks like it needs a drink, even though we've had nothing but storms lately. I need to give this a drink because the kale's looking kind of shabby. I've got several kinds of kale. I've got carrots. Up here I have cilantro all the way. The first top two, which the second one doesn't seem to have done a great job. I need to come back in here and do some replanting. That's a radish that's about ready. And this I thought was kale until I took all the leaves off, and then I noticed, oops, that was celery. Crap. So anyway, I planted some more, and I've got some more coming back up. So these are all blueberry bushes. The little guys, I've got 4 of the little ones. They are top hat. And then the 2, and I got those from Baker Creek as plants. And then the 2 larger ones are Superior. Yeah, Superior is the brand. And look, they're starting to be loaded with berries. I'm so excited. I'm going to have to watch them, and if the birds start getting them, I'm going to have to cover them. These will not bear fruit this year at all because they're too little. Maybe not even next year. I think these are 3-year-old plants. I think that's what the tag said. No, it says grow 3 together. Okay, so they're not 3-year-old plants, but I'm sure they are probably a year old. Anyway, these were well established. They've probably doubled in size since I planted them a month or so ago. So maybe they're not that, but I don't know. They're fruiting, so I would say they're not this year plants. You can see just a tinge of pink or reddishness, and these little guys are very red. Now they're not supposed to be red. Now this one doesn't have much red. They're not supposed to be red, and the reason they are red can be a number of reasons, but I can already tell you the reason here. They need acidic soil, and I treated this soil with peat moss and with sulfur, and I know it's well acidic. I'm just so excited about these little blueberries. Anyway, whenever you transplant a blueberry plant, it puts it in a little bit of stress, and it'll start to turn red. It may stay that way the whole season until it really gets well established and well rooted. And as you can see, these were more established plants, and they just have a little bit of a red tinge just because of the transplanting, but they're not stressed. And these are not like, oh my gosh, they're going to die stressed. They're not at all. They're very healthy looking. It just takes a while to get established, and they're going to stay red, reddish until that happens. So I'm not going to sweat that at all this year. Okay, back over here. These are all new beds. Again, those $4 beds. I couldn't believe my luck. And then here's another one here. And I have 2 Marketmore cukes and 2 pickling cukes. I have, this is where I moved my herbs. I've got a couple of lavender. I've got some rosemary. I've got English thyme, oregano, sage, some basil. And back there is marshmallow that came up volunteer, so I stuck it in there. I've got zinnias in the back, and 4 different pepper plants here, variety. I have marigolds up front. Again, these are the ones I grew. And I have my Gardener's Delight, 2 Gardener's Delight here. And this one was given to me, and it is, I have no idea. I can't read it. It's too faded. But I think that might be the Bodacious, but I'm not sure. So we'll be surprised together on that one. And I am going to put up some trellis here. Couple of T-posts and some 6-foot fencing. And I'll put a section of that here, and then the tomatoes will grow up that. Back here in the orange pot is turmeric. That is horsetail. I don't care if it lives or dies. I don't use it for anything. It is an herb, but I don't really use it. And then these are all empty. Give me an idea of what I can put in those. They don't stack well. They're cheap ones, and they are not green stalks. And I think I got them from Aldi's last year, and they're already breaking up and everything. So I can only stack them too high, but give me some thoughts on that. Okay, all of these weed-looking things are little starts of ground cherries. I love ground cherries, and I only had one here last year and one up there in that brown pot, and the birds or whatever got from the brown pot already. So when these get a little bit more established, I will move a couple of them up there. I'll leave 2 or 3 of them here, and then I'll just either give away or get rid of the rest. Got some cabbages here. I've got some zinnias. I planted some borage. I don't know what borage looks like when it comes up, so I don't know if that's it or not, but we will find out. Well, here's another one, so I'm going to say it probably is. And then I've got, again, zinnias, and this is tarragon that came back from last year. This one, these are super sauce tomatoes. I've got 5 of them, and I planted some zinnias in along through here. And I went through this morning and pinched the bottoms off, the bottom limbs off, so that they don't get blight. And it's soon going to be, and I did the suckers, I pinched the suckers off, and soon it's going to be time to start another few inches to start weaving them through there and tying them up. These are the bodacious, which are really big. They're all these super sauce, and the bodacious are very meaty, saucy type tomatoes that don't have a whole lot of juice. They're delicious, but they're great for making sauces and putting up. There's a volunteer. That is probably a gardener's delight. It could be a better boy, I'm not sure. And these are volunteers as well. There's 3 of them. We will see what we want to do with them. I don't know. And then I've planted some flowers. And right here in this section, I have some white kohlrabi. And then right here, I have some purple kohlrabi. And everywhere, I have these stinking maple trees coming up from everywhere, from these little, what we call these little helicopters. They look like little helicopters spinning when they come down. So that is that. My flower bed, one of my flower beds. This is going to have ground cherry. Not sure what I'm going to put in there. Oh, I forgot to show you over on this side. I've got some dill coming up in a couple of places. Those are chives from last year that have gone crazy. They didn't spread out, but they shot up. And I have 4 little cabbages. I'll show you when I get around to the other side, but I got 4 little cabbages around here. Guys, I thought I was getting cabbages and broccoli, and I ended up all cabbages. So I have 12 cabbages. So I've got 3 in each. And in the back, I've got some onions. Same here, 3 and onions, and they're looking real good. And then here are a couple of peppers. I have a 3rd one there, but it's looking a little bit sickly. It's a green pepper, so I may have to replace that one. Guys, peppers love to touch. They love to hold hands. So plant your peppers fairly close, and you will get more yield. Here I've got a little bit of basil, again, that I grew. And then these 3 are okra. I'm going to have to pull that middle one out. I just wanted to wait and make sure they all got well established, because I transplanted them over here. And because that's just too close. Actually, that's really too close for 2, but it's what I've got, and I'm going to deal with it. And then some zinnias back there. And I think I called my marigolds over here zinnias. But anyway, so those are going to be okra. I may or may not keep that 3rd one. I may transplant it, and I may give it away. I don't use a lot of okra. The only thing I really use okra for is I love tomatoes, okra, and corn combination. I'm going to can some of that this year. And I like fried okra, but I don't mess with it. It's too big of a mess. I don't like deep frying anything. Then here are 4 more peppers. Most of these peppers are colored peppers, yellow, orange, and red. And then I've got some more coming, so I'll have to figure out where I'm going to put those. And over here on this side, again, I don't know what kind of tomato this is. It was given to me and the tags were faded and I couldn't really read them. So same with these. These were given to me and I don't really know what they are. They were some cool ones. I just can't remember the names. So one of them was Cosmic something and I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so we'll see. And one of them was a purple, maybe that was it, Cosmic purple, like a cherry tomato. Over here are some more cabbages. There are 4 of them. Some of them are looking great. Some of them are looking kind of puny. We shall see. And I don't have anything in this yet. These are squash. There are 2 of them in this bucket. Doesn't look like my yellow squash came up, or if it did, it got snatched. But these are patty pans. I may or may not leave 2 in a bucket. I think I might. I've got 3 here and definitely going to have to move at least one of these. These are Genovese zucchini, and these are the spineless zucchini. So I got 2 spineless and 1 Genovese. And I think that that is it. So basically that's it, and in the next few weeks we'll do it again, but thanks for joining me. If you have any comments, guys, I've only been doing this a few years. I would really like to hear your input. I'd like to know if I'm doing something right or wrong. I'd like your suggestions and ideas, and I welcome your questions. So please comment below. Do me a favor, give me a like. And I'm trying to grow my channel, so the algorithm that will bring attention to the algorithm and more people will see my video, share my video, and also if you enjoyed this, please subscribe, because I am trying to grow my channel. So thanks, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. I thank you for watching. Thanks for joining me on my garden tour. I love you guys. Mwah.